Okay, thank you. My name's Daniel Kiers from IOP Publishing. Now, many of us believe that open data has the potential to make science more verifiable, more reproducible, and add to its trust. So why aren't all researchers sharing their data? In 2022 at IOP, we introduced a requirement for every research article to have a data availability statement with it. And what we saw in the time since then is that data sharing has grown, and yet still only 1 in 10 researchers are sharing fair data. Since the end of 2023, we've introduced an additional requirement for researchers to disclose the reasons why they aren't sharing data. And I just want to present some headlines, summary of what we found from that. So I think we're really pleased to see that across the 4 main fields of research that we serve at IOP Publishing, we've seen an increase in fair data sharing, but still the majority of researchers, at least in 3 of the 4 areas, are not sharing fair data. So why is that the case? So in physics, our sort of primary discipline, the main reason given, the most common reason given, is that the formats that researchers produce their data in wouldn't be accessible even if publicly shared. That's sometimes around it being sort of proprietary software, things like that. In materials, the most common reason given is that researchers aren't aware of, or they just don't believe there to be a sort of an established community accepted repository to share their data in a way that would really be visible to their peers. In environmental science, we heard that actually third parties very often own the data on which the research is based, and researchers aren't aware if they are permitted or how they could get permission to share their data publicly. And in engineering, the most common reason cited was commercial sensitivity, that often related to the sort of more applied nature of their work. Now, the variances continued when we look at this from a geographical perspective as well, and I've just put 4 major sort of research producing countries to illustrate the point. Again, we've seen some welcome increases in the level of data sharing in the last few years, but again, still the majority in all of the different countries here are not sharing their data in a fair way. There were some commonalities between the 2, the reasons for not sharing between the 2 Western and the 2 Eastern countries we picked to show you. In the UK and US, the most common reason was more to do with that format inaccessibility point I mentioned, and also commercial sensitivities. Whereas for researchers in China and India, it was the issue of at least a lack of a known community accepted data repository to share their data. Now, what could we conclude from this? Well, what we definitely found, at least within the sort of physical sciences disciplines that we're looking at, the actual levels of data sharing and the reasons for not sharing vary quite significantly, even between fairly closely aligned subject disciplines. And we think for that reason that sort of one-size-fits-all policy measures, timeframes are going to struggle to get the level of traction that they want. We think that researchers and organizations that represent specific communities need to be engaged early to find good, suitable solutions, and for those solutions to take research communities from where they're currently at, not where we'd like them to be. It's quite early in the journey for open data at IOP, but some of the kind of work we're doing off the back of this research and other more qualitative research is to try and take a varied approach to what we're doing in this area. So broadly speaking, for communities where research data sharing practices are less established, we're looking more at improving guidance, looking at opportunities for training. Whereas for the communities that are more advanced in their journey towards open data, We've got initiatives like data article types to bring more visibility and credit to that work, and looking at strengthening open data policies. I think the key for us, though, is that researchers are brought along on the journey so that any solutions can really be adopted at scale and persist. All right, thank you very much.